It all started with a simple question. Or so I thought. It was a simple question. Someone posted on an online forum, "Where's a good music scene in QC?" Simple enough, right? Like asking where to get good porridge. But it wasn't. Suddenly someone replied, "Nowhere, go to Caloocan. The music scene is livelier there." Hold on a minute. I asked about Quezon City. Why did the conversation suddenly shift to Caloocan? It's like asking where the bathroom is, and someone tells you, "Just use the kitchen, it's more spacious." A bit confusing. I didn't know if they were joking or serious. This is where the long discussion began. It was like a session in Congress, but about bands. Some people from QC got angry. "What do you mean, nowhere? There are tons of bars here," one person said. Someone even listed places in Katipunan, Timog, and all over. Then the person from Caloocan would chime in again. "Oh, but it's still different here. More raw, more real." What's raw and real? Is that meat? One person was just watching it all like a movie. And me, the one who asked the question, I got even more confused. All I wanted to know was where to find decent music in QC. But now, it felt like I had to pick a side. Team QC or Team Caloocan. That's when I realized that communication is like a trip on EDSA. You think it's going to be straightforward, but it's not. Full of traffic, people suddenly cutting in, and sometimes, you even get lost. My simple question turned into a big debate. I realized the problem wasn't just in the answer but also in the question. Maybe my question lacked detail. What kind of music scene was I looking for? Rock, pop, or maybe those who play the flute with their nose? I didn't clarify. And because of that, everyone assumed. The result? Confusion. The QC versus Caloocan discussion wasn't about music anymore. It became about local pride. Everyone defended their territory. They were like dogs marking their spot. The real purpose of the question was lost. In the end, I still didn't have a clear answer. I had a list of bars in QC and an invitation to Caloocan, but my mind was still a mess. It's like being given many maps, but all of them look different. Where do I go? Who do I believe? It's a mess, like having your hair pulled by 10 drag queens. I thought, maybe there was something wrong with how I asked the question. In Filipino culture, sometimes we're not direct. We beat around the bush. Maybe when I asked, "Where's a good music scene?" what others heard was, "Where's the best music scene in all of Metro Manila?" That's probably why someone answered Caloocan. The meaning of a question changes depending on who hears it. It's like saying, "I'm on a diet." But what you really mean is, "I'm on a diet, but it starts tomorrow." You need to be specific. The clearer, the better the result. So next time, maybe my question should be like this. People of QC, what rock bar is still open around Cubao that doesn't have expensive beer and isn't full of students? Oh, see? More detail. It's harder to answer with, "Go to Caloocan." Because it's clear I'm looking for Cubao, I like rock, and I don't want expensive beer. Asking questions is an art. You need to think not just about what you want to know, but also how the person you're talking to will receive it. Because if your question is too generic, you might get a generic or irrelevant answer. But there's another point. Sometimes, no matter how specific your question is, there are people who just want to insert their own opinion. They're the type you ask for the time, but they tell you the entire history of clocks. You can't blame them. Sometimes, they just really want to share. They're passionate about something, like that person from Caloocan who's proud of their music scene. The challenge is how to filter the information, which is the answer to your question, and which is just a bonus story. You need to be a smart filter. In the end, asking the right questions is about balance. You need to be direct to get the answer you need, but you also need to be open to unexpected answers. Maybe that guy has a point. Maybe it really is better in Caloocan. I won't know unless I try. The important thing is that it became clearer to me what I should do next time. Don't be afraid to ask, but more importantly, learn to ask correctly. So you don't get lost, not just on the road, but also in conversations. Every place has its own story, its own culture. The music scene in QC might be different from the music scene in Caloocan, not because one is better, but because they come from different backgrounds. In QC, maybe there are more universities, so the bands and the audience are younger. There's a lot of college influence. In Caloocan, Perhaps the people are more working class, so the music reflects their everyday life experiences. Different melodies, different themes, different pulse. It's not a competition. So when someone asks about a place, they're not just asking about the place, they're also asking about its culture. And when someone answers, they're not just giving information, they're also sharing their identity and pride in their place. That answer, go to Caloocan, isn't just a simple suggestion, it's an invitation to understand their world. A way of saying, here we are. This is how we are. Try it. The problem is, sometimes conversations are only through text. The tone, the emotion, gets lost. The invitation looks like an insult. This is where the importance of context comes in. If you don't know the background of the person you're talking to, misunderstandings can easily happen. You might think they're bragging, but they're just showing pride in a positive way. You might think they're teasing, but they're just offering an alternative. In the online world, where your identity is just a name, and sometimes a picture of a cat, it's hard to read a person's intention. Everything can be misinterpreted. A simple comment can become the spark of a long, meaningless argument. So before we react, before we get angry, let's try to understand first. Why did they say that? What was their experience? Understanding culture and context is like learning a new language. At first, it's confusing. You don't understand anything. But over time, you start to see the patterns. You start to feel the heart of what they're saying. The discussion about QC and Caloocan isn't just about music. It's about two different communities that both have rich cultures, just looking for a way to express themselves. In the midst of all the chaos and debate, one thing is most important: patience. Filipinos can be hot-headed. We get annoyed quickly when we don't get what we want right away, especially on the internet where everything is instant. We want instant answers, instant solutions. But finding the right information, especially local knowledge, requires patience. It's not like ordering fast food. Sometimes you have to wait. You have to filter. You have to ask again, and again, and again. Along with patience comes respect. No matter how frustrated you are with the answers you're getting, it's important to remain respectful. It's easy to type hurtful words when you're hidden behind a computer screen. But remember, you're still talking to a person on the other end. They have feelings too. Answering rudely won't help. Instead of getting help, they might just tease you more. Showing respect, even if you think their answer is wrong, will open more doors for you. Maybe someone else will read it and be more willing to help you because they saw you were pleasant to talk to. To get the right local information, there are some practical ways. First, join specific online groups. If you're looking for music in QC, find a group for musicians or music lovers in QC. Second, don't rely on a single source. Ask different people and platforms. Cross-reference the answers. Third, if possible, go to the place yourself. Walk around. Ask vendors, guards, tricycle drivers. They are the real Google Maps of their area. They know the ins and outs better than any app. In the end, the lesson from the QC and Caloocan discussion is simple. The world is bigger than our own bubble. Seeking information is an opportunity to learn, not just about the place, but also about the people. It requires clear communication, cultural understanding, and a whole lot of patience. And if you still get lost in the end, that's okay. Sometimes, the best music isn't the planned kind, but the ones you discover by accident, in a place you didn't expect. Maybe in Caloocan, or maybe still in QC. The important thing is, you tried.